I am Melissa with Domini Women's Health. I'm sitting in for Dr. Shaban for the Dr. Shaban Domini Women's Health Show. And today we are talking with some of the great master estheticians over at DWH Health and Wellness Med Spa.
Hi, I'm Bridgette. I'm one of the master estheticians.
And my name's Alex. I'm the other master esthetician. But thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So excited to be here.
I know, excited to have you guys. So we had the ladies on a couple of episodes ago, and we were talking about a couple different treatments and chemical peels. So today we actually wanted to talk about microneedling. So I'm going to leave it up to the ladies to just kind of share a little bit about what microneedling is and the process, and talk to us about who you think are good candidates for it.
Yeah, of course. So microneedling is honestly one of my favorite modalities to give. I like it. It's really great for a lot of people, but what it is essentially is we're doing a controlled wounding of the skin. So like with one of the ones that we have in the practice is a skin pin microneedling, and it has 14 pretty much needles in it that are sterilized and totally safe, but what we're doing is going through the entire face and creating these little micro channels, again, controlled wounding, so that way we can start to stimulate the fibroblasts that make the collagen and elastin, because as we get older, those kind of started to deplete, and that's kind of where you see like the loss of volume, the sagging skin, the things that we don't like about aging. So this helps to kind of start to reverse the process of it.
Yeah, and what's good about Skin Pen is that it's the first and I believe the only FDA-approved microneedling device. So again, it's very safe. A lot of people, really enjoy it because, it can technically be performed year-round, although we do prefer it during the winter months. Safe for every skin type, every skin tone. Of course, there are a few, contraindications. You can't be, pregnant. No like bleeding like disorders or anything like that, but of course you make sure that everyone's all good to go before that, but very like painless procedure, and only lasts like 30-45 minutes roughly depending on the area, so it's a really, really good option for a lot of people.
Yeah. And we numb you beforehand, so that way I know a lot of people are really scared, but they're like, oh my God, you're putting needles in my face. You really don't feel anything. We do like to make sure you are fully numbed before starting, so we typically will leave that numbing on for 45 minutes to an hour, and that's the longest portion of your treatment. So once you get that numbing cream off, it's boom, bam, everything's nice. You'll be nice and like little pink. You'll feel like a sunburn after all the numbing cream wears off, but it's super easy. You really don't feel a thing. So it's great for a lot of people, and it's, again, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. So tell me a little bit about the use for it. So is there anyone, that's really, when you recommend maybe as an intro treatment, or what are the uses?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, some people who just come in for a first-time consult who really haven't done like anything to their skin, sometimes depending on their skincare concern, I could be like, yeah, microneedling would be a great option for you, especially if they're willing to go along with a certain skincare regimen, because that is a very, very big part of it as well, especially to just enhance your results and to protect your skin as well while doing the treatment. It's important what you're doing at home is, going to support that. But even like for age-wise, let's say someone like a teenager or someone in college is coming in and had really bad acne when they were younger, and now they just have what's called like ice pick scars, just like those deep scars that, just over-the-counter products or, skincare products aren't really going to help. Like we need to go in there with that microneedling device and kind of break up that scar tissue and kind of stimulate that collagen and elastin to kind of plump out those deep scars. So that's someone who's a really good option. Something also we do is like microneedling with radio frequency. It's called Morpheus. I know we're kind of talking about Skin Pen, but for some of our older clients, like she was saying how, you lose some volume and like some skin laxity. So you go in there with the microneedling, stimulating that collagen and elastin. So it's going to help with those fine lines, wrinkles, and breaking up actually some pigmentation if you have any. But then the radio frequency, while it's in there, is being shot out. So it's going to like lift, tone, and tighten the skin as well. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1, which is really, really cool.
Workout in itself.
Exactly. Yes.
It's very much a workout.
Yeah. So definitely recommend that sometimes for the older clients, or even as like a body treatment, like women, who have had, 3 C-sections and, they're like, I just can't get rid of this, scar. The creams aren't working, I've heard so many times. So, and really what needs to be done is kind of, again, breaking up that scar tissue, going in there and kind of just remodeling the skin from within. So really almost like any age range. I try not to go too young because the skin is still very youthful, like skin cell turnover is still very much like within the 28 days, which is really good, which is what we want. So their skin's kind of, still youthful, and like we won't mess with it too much. Really, like I feel like, and maybe end of high school, like college is kind of when we start to see some people really starting to see those like those skin concerns kind of pop up, I feel like.
Especially a lot of the, like she was saying, the ones with acne as a kid, like, there's really not a lot you can do to treat those, so that it leaves them with the scarring. So my favorite to use it for actually is like hyperpigmentation and sun damage, especially like the wonderful sunbathers. Once we get them on a good regimen, making sure that we're wearing a good sunscreen and we're using good products at home, then that's going to be a really great way to start breaking up that pigment, which is why we typically recommend a series of 3 to sometimes 6, just because, the sun damage wasn't created overnight, so one treatment's not going to fully eradicate everything. But it helps to start breakup, so you can start to see less and less and less. I know I have like post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation because of my acne, and that still is a really great way I've helped to treat it, and it's pretty much gone away to where now it's just my leftover redness from my slight rosacea, which still can also be fixed. So that's a little bit longer of a process. But there's so many different types of things that Skin Pin and Morpheus can help treat, which is why it's a great treatment for pretty much almost anyone, like she was saying, except for like super youngins. Like I won't do it on my middle school and like young high school kids that I see. But definitely that end of high school, early college age, all the way up to people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s if they're, really wanting to like do something then. But it's really good for anybody.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And is it more designed for, it sounds like it's going to be a long-term treatment as opposed to just like a special event type of treatment. Is that right?
Yeah, I definitely would not recommend doing this right before any big event, because you're going to be red for, especially the first day afterwards, maybe the second day. We're wanting to make sure you might experience a little bit of peeling, especially around like the mouth and nose area, just because you're getting a lot of motion in that area. So it's definitely not like a big thing that we would do right before. There are options like nano needling, which is using a silicone-based tip versus, an actual needle, and that's going to help infuse serums in the skin, and that'll get you nice and glow. But if you are wanting to do something before a big event, there are many other options that we would definitely go with first, because we do want to do about 3 treatments, typically 4 to 6 weeks in between, to get you the optimal results. And then after that, we would do every 6 months to maybe a year kind of maintenance, like touch-ups.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as other treatments that can be used in addition to it, so I think you had mentioned, obviously, the radio frequency. Mm-hmm. Are there any other treatments that you recommend to be used with the microneedling?
Yeah, I mean, after you can actually use LED to kind of enhance those results and kind of help with the inflammation. Like usually for LED, red is a really good light because it helps specifically with anti-aging, fine lines and wrinkles. That's a really good one to pair it with. And even just maybe not like treatments, but like specific serums or like PRP, platelet-rich plasma. Using your own, plasma from your blood that has growth factors and your own DNA to pour it just back into the skin. It helps enhance your results. It also helps you heal that much quicker. So especially if you do have somewhere to go to, or you just don't want to, deal with the redness even for a day or two, it really, really helps, speed up that recovery time. But if you're not good, let's say with getting your blood drawn or something, we always have other options. Like we have a firming serum and also a brightening serum, both from one of our brands called Zeo. Those are really, really good. Just a few drops right after the treatment can help just stimulate that collagen even more. Especially the firming serum definitely helps kind of like lift, tone, and tighten, especially if you don't want to do the radio frequency option. Then you could just do the firming serum with the microneedling. That one's really, really good, and you can take it home, especially while the microchannels are still open for those 24 hours. You can kind of put it on while it's still open, make sure it's getting in nice and deep, and those results just it just enhances your results basically that much more.
Wow, it sounds really good.
It's pretty cool. We love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I can tell. I love the enthusiasm. It's so great.
Yeah.
So one of your other passions from hearing you guys, it sounds like, is sunscreen.
Yes.
Talk to me about sunscreen. How important is it, especially not even with this treatment, but of course with the treatment as well? And what's kind of the difference in some of your recommendations?
Mm-hmm. So I think I said this in the last one we were talking about chemical peels, but sunscreen is what I like to call your insurance policy. So you can do all of these things in our treatment room, but if you're not wearing sunscreen, you're pretty much going to damage that new skin that we're creating. So again, with this, we're stimulating the collagen elastin production. We're creating that cell turnover. So we're creating fresh skin. So if we don't protect that fresh skin, you're just going to continue seeing the same problems. The sun damage, the wrinkles, just eventually scarring. So we want to make sure that this fresh new skin that you've, spent a good amount of money on is being protected. So typically, we would say a physical sunscreen is going to be best. There are chemical sunscreens out there, but what we're doing, because we've caused so much inflammation, is we want to prevent from any more inflammation from happening. So physical sunscreen will help block all of the sun rays instead of absorbing them like a chemical sunscreen. So we're wanting to look for something with like zinc oxide in it, so that way we know that we're blocking it. And we want it to be broad spectrum so that we're being protected against both UVA and UVB, which are going to cause problems in aging and also kind of in the burning of the skin. So we want to protect against both rays. And even if you don't think you're going outside, if you think you're just going to stay inside, you have windows and those rays can still go through the windows. So sunscreen is a 24/7, 365, no matter what you're doing, because that's going to really make sure that we are protecting and not causing any more problems.
Yeah, and people ask me for like recommendations a lot of the times, but one of the brands we have called Skin Better, their sunscreen, I think it's called Tone Smart, is SPF 75. They say it's actually approved immediately post microneedling. So a lot of people, don't want to leave with the redness. You can just put that on top and, since it's tinted, it'll cover up some of that redness for you. And I believe that one specifically, maybe a couple others, they got awards from the Skin Cancer Foundation. So we know it's a really, really like top tier sunscreen. And I'm really happy that we offer that specifically at the spa. But there are, even at Target, really good sunscreens that a lot of people can get. Again, the best one for you is going to be the one that you wear every day. So, it doesn't have to be physical, although if you're doing all these treatments, we definitely recommend that because it's
want to prevent more inflammation.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of different types out there. So honestly, if you, take a picture of one that you think you might like, send us a picture. We'll get back to you on whether we think, I do that with a lot of my clients. They're like, what do you think of this? I'm like, all right, yeah.
Let's look at the ingredients.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So what exactly is a chemical sunscreen? I know you guys have mentioned that a little bit. So what is the difference between a physical versus a chemical sunscreen?
Yeah, so physical, basically, you put it on the skin. It kind of blocks and reflects. Thank you. The UVA and UVB rays. But with chemical sunscreen, it absorbs those and kind of like dissipates in the skin. So just like that chemical reaction of the UVA and UVB rays being absorbed into the skin, it's, technically, chemical reaction. So that's kind of why we don't want that usually for treatments. But for physical, literally just like, like a brick wall, just, being blocked.
Blocking it all out.
Literally blocking out the haters or the sunrise.
All
those hateful sunrise. Yes.
So Bridgette, I think you had mentioned, so zinc really is kind of that component in it that makes it more of a physical sunscreen.
And sunscreen, because it goes through a lot of FDA testing on like a lot of like other skincare products, you can see actually on it, it'll say active ingredients and inactive ingredients. So what we're doing is we're looking at the active ingredients and it's going to tell you. So if you see anything with like oxy or like that's a really long name in terms of it, that's more likely 9 times out of 10 a chemical sunscreen. So that zinc or the titanium oxide, that's what we're looking for in terms of a physical sunscreen. So it's really easy to see. It's also too, you can always Google it of whether or not is this a chemical or physical sunscreen. Google will always help you too if we're not available to answer the question. But
love it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Yeah. So what about also mineral makeups? What's your opinion on that? I mean, even, in conjunction with what you're doing, but then also even from the sunscreen aspect of it, do they have some sort of component to it?
Yeah, definitely. So there's certain ingredients in the mineral makeup that, make it mineral makeup. But we even say that after, like the first 24 hours after microneedling, we definitely want you to wear that physical sunscreen. And also it is actually okay to wear mineral makeup. Because I know a lot of women are very religious with the makeup and, it's like their face. They're putting on their face every day.
Absolutely.
So, and we completely understand that. So we just want to make sure it's safe. But anything that's really not mineral makeup, that's kind of what we want to steer away from, at least while doing these treatments for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, mineral makeup's really good. I know there's quite a few. Jane Iredale is a really big one. Bare Minerals, it's not my favorite, but it's still a decent one because it's, again, all mineral based. Because we just don't want to cause any more, because the channels do close after 24 hours, but because it's fresh skin, we want it to heal. We don't want to clog up your pores and everything like that. So that's kind of the difference of why we don't want that heavy liquid foundation. The powder mineral makeup is going to be typically the best way to go.
Okay, great. Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are so helpful and so informational. I
We
love
try.
it. Love talking to you guys. So, is there anything else you feel like we need to know about microneedling, either before, after, during, anything like that?
I don't think so, just that I think everyone should do it. But
I know. Yes. Don't be afraid. I know it seems like a lot, but we've done treatments ourselves, and it's so easy. It's like the results are great. Like, I wish I brought my before and after pictures. They're really life changing, and
it helps so much.
It does.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Well, I'm definitely going to book an appointment.
Okay, please do.
Excellent. Well, thank you, ladies, so much.
Of
It's been so
course.
great talking to you,
Of course.
and you guys will be seeing Dr. Shaban next time, I'm sure. But
Yes.
Awesome.
thank you guys so much. It's been so great. Can't wait to see a demo of it.
Of course. Thank you
Yes.
so much for having us. Yeah,
Yes.
we're really excited to show it off for, I think, one of the next episodes. So,
Perfect. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you.
yeah. Of course. Have a good one.
Bye.